All right, so we'll get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So excited to have you guys all here. Just before we get started, I just wanted to let you all know, last week we had our first rental compliance webinar and a lot of you did attend. If you did attend last week, please make sure you check your emails. There was a survey link that was emailed to you all yesterday. And if you have not received it, please reach out to me today so I can reshare it with all of you. We just want to make sure that whatever we shared with you guys was understood. We do have two more coming up. So if you did not take the rental compliance last week, there will be another one on August 6th and August 27th. We had a newsletter sent out yesterday with the link to register. So please, with all the new changes that are happening and we're all doing a lot of rentals, it's very important to keep up with all the changes. So we're doing these rental compliance to help you guys, because I'd rather you guys take 1 hour of your time to do one of these rental compliance than get a lawsuit over a lead paint. So please do your best to attend one of them. And there will be registration links come up as we get closer to it, but feel free to register from the email yesterday. Anyway, so for today's topic, we have our manager from Fort Lee, Frances Tack, who is here. She will be sharing some tips that you guys can use to customize your own buyer presentation. And without further ado, Frances.
Yes, good morning, everybody. So I'm going to share the screen. And I know a few weeks ago, Rob had his other version of a buyer's consultation that you could customize. So this is another option. And believe it or not, it is on our Mac Center. So let's start here. So it's like a 13-page guide, right? And I think this is, sometimes, we have a loss for words. And I think it's a good idea to have a guide like this, especially now more than ever. The buyer's consultation is going to be so important to be able to meet with your clients face to face before we even tour our house, right? So we kind of have to make that a habit, but just having random conversations, we don't want to do that. So at least having some kind of was it like a brochure in front of us to be able to show a step-by-step guide of how the process works, but also to share our knowledge, to be able to build rapport with people. That's so important, especially as a buyer's representative. So this is a 13-page guide that we have, and it's really 11 and maybe possibly even shorter than that because there's a glossary. You don't have to go so in depth into detail, but I personally, for me, I would try to customize some of the wording, but at least this is a reference to you that you could start off with and then customize it to your needs, because we all work differently, we speak differently. Certain things that are important to us might not be as important to others. So let's start. So here's our page 1, Home Buyer's Guide. And then the road home. So now there's a lot of verbiage, right? But sometimes we're not letting the buyer read through all the wording. We're the ones that are going to take control of the situation. For remember, we are the professional. So, I mean, to start off, I would say, this is exciting times. You're going to be starting off purchasing a home and really trying to get to know the people. Like in this page, it does the second part. I was telling Adona, from the pride you feel by being a homeowner to the potential tax deductions. I don't know. I never thought about tax deductions when purchasing a home first, right? So, but then she reminded me, you know what? But that kind of terminology would be great for investors too. So that makes sense. And so you should definitely read through it and customize it, or you could keep it the same. In the beginning, I kept telling Adona, I want to customize it. Some of this doesn't work for me. But then I realized you really need to see the original format because of us work differently, right? And then what I do like about most of the pages is the blue box. The blue box are the cues, right? So to cue people and also to remind you of what you might need to say. So like 10 steps to purchasing a home. Again, like for myself, I was like, well, there's certain things that might be missing, but that's the part you would fill in the gap to show your expertise and your experience in the business, right? So choose a real estate agent that's right for you is number one. Knowing your budget. If so, knowing your budget is so important, especially for us real estate agents when you're working with people. You know, they say you don't want to drive people around and spin your wheel, right? You want to make sure that you know what their budget is. What does budget doesn't mean price point. It really comes down to what they could afford on a monthly basis. So, you know, this is the time where you would probably say, you know what, you know, to ask the question, do you have a pre-approval? And if they don't, that's when you make your suggestion that a pre-approval is so needed to start the process, because you really want to know what your budget is, what you can afford. And especially in this type of market where we know that the list price is not the final price of a purchase price, we want to make sure that, you know, we're guiding them to the right homes. So if there is a bidding war, at least they do have that, you know, they do have that flexibility to go higher instead of being stuck and disappointed because they didn't have a chance, because that's where their number was supposed to be from the start. So something like that, you know, conversation line.
Francis, would you be able to email that 10 step to purchase a home?
Yeah, it's on our Mac Center.
So I'm just going to interrupt really quickly. So it is on Mac Center. There was an email from corporate that was sent to all of us, which includes the PDF version of this, as well as the option to customize it. I will make sure that every office will have that email. So after this, I'll email the managers. Your managers will share it with you guys.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
And then going on to customization, as we start discussing this page by page, if you have like feedback of what you feel like is important, I would love for you to share that. Maybe we could also take this time to customize it where it kind of works for us as a, you know, community family of RE/MAX Select, only because what we see right here is a little bit more universal and national kind of added national kind of flair, because, you know, it's all the states, a lot of the states, they work differently than we do. So we want to make sure that it's something that, you know, we're confident about when we do have it in front of a buyer, right? So that's just my suggestion. So feel free to chime in if you want to share something. And then I definitely would want to chime in too. You'll see like certain things I may not agree with, or I feel like it needs to be adjusted a little bit, because even like create a remax.com account. I never really say that because I have my own website. So, if you don't have your own website yet, you know, the remax.com can be synced to your website. So it looks like everything's coming from you. And I remember Idona was sharing that, you know, with KV Core, that you're able to do the same, and they're able to browse, right? Right, Idona?
So regardless whether or not you were using your KB Core website, this is the time to work on it, because corporate is working out a way. We have to use our website whether we like it or not, because after August 17, we can no longer add what we're offering to the buyer agent compensation on MLS. So it's going to be through our website. So if you have not created a website, or if you have not updated your website, this is the time to do it more than ever. So doing, you know, you get a free KB Core website, which is integrated through remax.com. And as you know, you get to pick which areas you service. So that way, if you are helping a client in that area, they'll always be able to see new listings come up on your own website, which is pretty cool. And they will like that. And if they click on a property, you will get notifications saying, hey, your client has seen 2 or have clicked on this property 2-3 times, that will give you a reason to reach out to them. You'll get reminders through KB Core saying, hey, you should really reach out to this person. So please, if you have not created a KB Core website, or if you need to update it, reach out to me or your manager. Will be able to help you.
And step number 5, identify homes you like and schedule home tours. So that's an exciting topic to figure out what type of home do they like. But as you know, like, sometimes, especially with home buyers, first-time home buyers, they do have this ideal dream type of home. It could be the colonial, but, sometimes you have to kind of remind them, let's keep our options open, especially depending on their price range too, and their affordability. You want to, I mean, it's nice to narrow a search, but then you don't want to narrow it too much where their options are limited. Just like towns too. They might have liked one town for some reason, but then, we're in Bergen County. There, especially in Bergen County, there's so many different types of desirable towns. So they might have not known what they only knew probably is because of friends and family, but that's our job, right? To widen their perspective of, finding a home. And then number 6, make an offer. So this, like 6 through 8, get an inspection, close the deal. I think this is the best way for it. It's too simplified, right? But that's when we have to share our experience, right? Our knowledge. I think that's the best way to do it in that time, because yes, make an offer. It sounds so easy, right? But it's not easy at all, especially these days. And you got to let them know, how do we make an offer? What do we need? That's why, like, from knowing your budget, we need, and 2 and 3, going back to 2 and 3, you have to have the pre-approval, what's submitted. Lately, you also make sure that you have the, deposit. How much is your down payment? You want to make sure, I don't know about some of you, but I like to have my clients show proof of funds, because I think that makes the offer stronger too. That, what, the down payment is here, ready to go. So I think that's a great way to show a seller that, we're prepared financially to move forward. So making
Francis, I just want to say one thing regarding, if you're going to ask one client for proof of funds, please remember you have to ask every single person, because then it becomes into a discrimination based on compliance. So if you're going to ask one person, you have to ask everybody.
Yes, but I do only because there are times where there have been instances where people weren't prepared. The money was in my 401k, or, they weren't prepared, or they didn't realize. So these are topics that are great to just be able to carry on the conversation and to build rapport, but also trust. Because if they can trust you discussing their financial, situation, I think that's a win-win, right? So then, so after a home is, offer is accepted, attorney review goes into place, right? So then you have to give them guidance that, when you make an offer, we also, let's say, if it gets accepted, do you have a real estate attorney? So you, as the agent, you're going to have to, if they don't have one that they want to use, then you're going to have to, provide a few options. You always have to provide a few options, even if you do have, preferred attorneys, right? And hopefully it's an attorney that's also, like, cooperative with us as well. So that's also helpful. And then, once an offer is accepted, attorney review, which takes about 3 to 5 days, normally you go into under contract status. So all this kind of stuff is not there, but it doesn't really need to be there, because again, you're showing your knowledge, you're filling in the gaps of what needs to be, right? I think that's a great thing. And then, letting them know that when you go under contract, you have the home inspection, right? But also, that's also the time you're working on your mortgage commitment, or at least shopping around for rates, right? So I like the box, because regardless of what says on the left side, the blue side is what's gonna kind of showcase your experience and your knowledge. Okay, so I was talking to Donna about this part. So, like, to find the right agent for you, ask your top candidates this question. So for your experience, for some of you top producers, more seasoned agents, yes, you'll probably feel comfortable with this. But for some of us who are still trying to, work our way through the business, this could be, adjusted or revised a little bit to our comfort zone level. So, I don't think you need to, feel like, oh, this is what I need to do. Because how much experience do you have, and can you provide references? Do any of you have references? We we might have reviews, and you know what? I do recommend the reviews because a lot of the searches now, even for not just for homes and properties, are done online. So people can find you, they can Google you, right? So I encourage you, if you have not done so yet, try to create a Google business account and ask for those reviews, right? And you can also create a free Zillow account if you're not on Zillow, and ask for those reviews because those are important. Everybody is searching, doing the research online. So if you haven't done so, it's not too late, better late than never. So I do recommend that. And then what services and resources do you offer? Some agents I know do offer a lot, some might not, but it's okay, because if finding their home is your main goal and you're good at it, that's fine, so you could always customize it, like we said. Number 3, how will the buying process work and what's expected of me? That we kind of said on the last page, but you could also kind of reiterate because this is a lot of information, especially if you're working with a first-time home buyer or even a person who did buy a home, but we don't know what kind of age or what type of agent they were working with before, so you still want to do your best to be resourceful as you can and to share what you can. And then number 4, how much time can you devote to my needs and how often will you communicate with me? So I would hope that if you're building a business relationship, you will do your best to be able to communicate, especially in this market when homes are, the inventory is low. You want to make sure that, you're attentive and to be able to respond. Yeah, if you have too many clients, which is a great thing, but sometimes we have a tendency to lose people if we're not giving them the attention they need at that time. So sometimes I do let people know, I do have other people, but I will do my best to respond in a timely manner to make sure that, you get we get to see what you want or your questions are addressed when they need to be addressed, because there will be questions, right? And then number 5, what types of homes are your specialty, and are you familiar with the neighborhoods that interest me? Okay, so I don't know about you, but there are the local experts. There are agents who are really good at just specializing in a few towns and their neighboring towns. But like myself, I like to, cover a wide territory because sometimes the business is not always there, right? But if you have that motivated buyer, right, who will buy something from you, especially if you built that relationship, then you have to just be able to be open to it. So sometimes I would tell them it's good to be honest too. You know what? I don't know the town as much as I would like for you, but I am willing to do what it takes to get the information you need. But I would also question, so how did you know about the town? Why did you choose the town? Maybe because they were referred by a friend, and then there you go, a trusted source has recommended you to that town. And if you trust your friend with that town, I will definitely be able to do what it takes to get you a home in that town. Yes. And then how many homes have you helped customers buy in the last year? That's a tough question to address, right? Depending. If you did 100 homes, God bless. But a lot of times, we're lucky or unlucky sometimes, but it's timing. It's It's not that it's you. If you're in this business because you're a professional, don't put yourself down, because it's also timing of who you meet. Oftentimes people say, hey, are you busy? Yeah, I could be busy running around helping and guiding people. But sometimes if the timing is off for that particular individual, because, it's their budget, or it's just that there's not that many options in that price point, then, it's hard. And then, so that's a tough question just to have there, but
So Fran,
uh-huh.
I just want to add something to that. Just remember, you guys are not alone. You're part of a team. I have helped a few agents where they went to a listing presentation and the seller says, okay, list all the listings you had closed in the previous years or a year. Always ask your manager. We can always help you. You're not alone. You can always say you're part of a team. You don't have to go and say, oh, I only closed 2 deals. Just use us as the team, saying, well, my team and I have closed many deals. So you don't really, I personally feel like it's not a tough question. You can always, if you are a solo agent, you've closed 50 or 100 deals, great, use that. But if you haven't, just remember you can use us as your team.
And then number 7, what happens after we make an offer? What about after closing? Now, what happens after? So I kind of discussed that on the previous page, but we could kind of, go back to it and kind of remind them of the process. And then what about after closing? Well, once you get the key, you are the owner, right? You are the owner, and then you do what you will, either you have a mortgage. If you're a cash buyer, then you don't have a mortgage. But yeah, so it's exciting time to be able to celebrate. But yeah, so I don't know, any questions, any suggestions? Is there something that maybe I'm not covering that you wish I would cover? So we could go on to the next page. So get pre-approved. Yes, this is so important, because we want to make sure we're taking them to the correct homes, that need be, because you don't want to get them discouraged. But even, sometimes there are certain people who are conservative that could actually afford more. So, directing them to the right lender is really important. They check the credit score, the employment history. So this is great, a reference that they could have, especially when they're trying to prepare for a home buying journey. But just referring them to a great lender if they don't have one, I think is so important. It's also, it saves time for you, but also, to give them realistic expectations of what they can afford. Okay, so the expectations of your home search. So there's I guess this part is just not as important, I think. It's just, details of, the home styles. It mentions like 8 different home styles if you go on to the next page. So, if you want to carry on the conversation, you can, but like, from the beginning, we asked them, or you tried to ask them, like, what type of home do you like? And maybe they don't know any different. So, we could go out, we could discuss these pages and let them know that, what, there's all these different types. Maybe you might want to keep your eye open. Now that we know where your price point is, we can keep our options open to be able to, look at homes that might not have been what you wanted, even townhomes, because sometimes, like, they might like single family homes, but they don't, especially certain people, they might not want to deal with like all the exterior work, because they're not great with a green thumb, or they just don't have an understanding of what it takes to take care of the home, not just the interior but exterior too. So for some, townhomes could be the option where the HOA takes care of the landscaping and, the snow removal and all that other stuff that maybe they're not aware of, or it's just not in their vocabulary, I guess. But I do like this page, the checklist. It's kind of narrowing down like what their expectations are, or hoping what their expectations are for their next home. And it's like a fun discussion, right? Like how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, garage, even it doesn't mention like central air, especially times like this. Central air is so important, or at least like some type of AC in the house. So yeah, so this, I think this will be like the fun page where they're, starting to create the dream, knowing what type of style home that they might be open to, but also the interior, all the little features they didn't think about that they could, start thinking about too. And then these are like the next steps where, home insurance and all that good stuff are usually like afterwards, toward right before closing, that they could think about. So it's just being prepared, and even like moving company and all, well, contractor landscaping, a lot of times if the current seller had taken care of their place, most often we might ask the seller to be able to offer all those good details with in reference to even the utilities, so they can be prepared to transfer everything over, especially like with landscaping, towards the end of the season, it's hard to find somebody to start new with. So you might, if they like the work, or if they don't have an option right away, it's probably best to use the people that were used already. And then, once they get to know their neighbors, and maybe, be able to get more names, to be able to, more companies to have options to price out services for their home. And then this glossary, I mean, it's a lot of details, but I think like for some of the buyers, they may want, it might be interesting to know all the details, like, purchase insurance, what a home inspection is, and the glossary, sorry. So the amortization, all these types of terminology that you may need, during the home buying process. Any questions or comments? We're going toward the end.
Ardona, I got a suggestion.
Yes.
So as I'm looking at this, and I'm gonna go print it out and that sort of thing. For me, this is a great tool for me to use in an open house.
Hmm.
So, normally I have a flyer, I have a little something to give them, what to expect on a sale, 8 items for lending, don't do this, don't do that. But this is a great brochure to have available, and then whatever else, property flyer, whatever you could put in it. So that's what I'm gonna use this for.
And just remember, you guys can customize this, right? This is just a sample of tools that you could possibly use, but you have to make it you. This is, you have to customize it to showcase who you are as an agent and what you will be doing for your buyers. And you can always use different forms from Mac Center that we use on our listing presentation. And you can always showcase the properties you've closed. You can include, like Fran mentioned, reviews, print them out, include them, make it you.
Oh, and
It
I would
has,
include a resume if you, including a resume would be good too. And then, for buyer's presentation, you could do, if you're having a consultation in the office, your laptop on the big screen, and like, I just put it in a binder as well. So in a binder, but also like later on, we're gonna go through more topics like home. There's a home selling guide, which is great for the listing side, and maybe it'll help with our verbiage when it comes to the importance of, I didn't review all of it yet, but adding in like the importance of the buyer's agent's compensation. So, it's, it's a great thing to be able to share all this kind of knowledge with each other. And that's a great thing to even have it at the open house. I don't know if you want to pass it out all the time, right? But maybe like the people who are interested, if the open house isn't that busy, you could have like a binder like this, or on your laptop, kind of going through, just showing them your knowledge, and just building that rapport, and carrying on a conversation, letting them know that they're important and you're willing to take the time to explain, the process to them.
Another thing that I want to mention is New Jersey Realtor has a tab saying like they list like over 100 reasons why you need a buyer's agent. Copy and paste it. You might not want to use all of it, but maybe something that clicks and resembles like who you are, take it. It also has like over 67 top reasons why you need a listing agent. And so please start using, go on their website. They have so many tools that you guys can use. If you're in Bergen County, or if you're a member of NJMLS, they also prepared a buyer's guide that you guys can also use.
Yeah,
So
even in one of the pages, where the recommendations, maybe you could add in your list of preferred attorneys, preferred lenders, preferred moving companies, landscapers, depending on which town the house is in. So, just being proactive to let them know that, that you are the local expert.
I wanted to
Has-
add also, I don't know if Denise D'Amato's on this call, but she's a terrific resource, because we have an insurance company that's affiliated with us, and we have a home warranty that's affiliated with us, and this all falls under her umbrella, and she is very willing to help at any time. So I would certainly make her a part of the presentation to show what we bring to the table.
Yeah, so you could add in the flyers that Denise has in the office. You could definitely add that to the PDF as well.
And Robert, thank you. Fran, thank you. I am on the call. I'm listening very carefully. Didn't want to interrupt the flow of things. Just want to remind everybody, I am always here and always willing to help. We really do have a luxury of having the insurance agency available to you. And we are active Monday through Friday when the carriers are open. And we're also responsible for title. So please, I know, Fran, your office, we have two different title, I'll call it streams of companies. So you don't only have one choice, you really do have two available choices for title. And it does make a difference to people. Insurance, I was listening, thank you, Robert, for bringing me into it, because I was listening very careful regarding the insurance and the warranty. Those are two very important things. And especially those first-time home buyers, they truly don't understand the difference. And there is a great deal of importance to them to understand the difference. So please know if you need PDFs, if you need extra material, I can always get it out to you. If you want to check to make sure you have the most updated material, let me know. Always here to help. Thank you. Thanks, Donna. Thanks, Fran.
Thank you, Denise. And I guess I
You too.
just want to make sure you guys, I'm sure you all know this, but we are affiliated with ARW, and that has to be offered to both buyers and sellers. So I would definitely recommend you do add that to your buyer presentation. A lot of times buyers don't even know that they can actually purchase a home warranty. So that's going to be helpful. You can always reach out to Denise and she'll provide you with more information and flyers. Has anyone prepared a buyer's presentation, and have you had a presentation with the buyer? Because we are getting closer to August, and I would love to hear.
In answer to the question that Francis mentioned earlier about, how many homes have you sold this year? I had an interesting, I was doing a seller presentation, and the house was in Morris Township. And so the seller said to me, "So have you done a lot of business in Morris Township?" And I said, "It just so happens that I'm closing on a listing of mine in Morris Township on Wednesday." "Oh, well, okay. Well, I guess that answers our question." And there was no more comments or asking how many other houses I might have sold in the area. So I think that it's not often necessary how many you've sold, but that you've sold. So just wanted to put that out there.
Right. Thank you, Robert. That's
It's a good point.
A good point to share, because sometimes, yeah, they don't really care how many you have closed. They just want to make sure you have closed. And thank you for sharing that. Before we end the call today, next Tuesday, I will be going over the buyer agency agreement, how to fill it out, and how to present that to your buyers. Just remember, we're not attorneys, so we're not going to go into the whole buyer agency with our clients, but at least I will show you what to fill in on the blanks and how to present that to your buyers. So that's next Tuesday. And then just if you joined us after we started today, there's 2 rental compliance coming up. One of them is August 5th and the other one is August 27th. We really encourage all of our agents to take one of them just because of everything that's happening and all the new changes. It's so important that you are aware of all those changes and how to handle if you come across anything like that, especially Section 8. So we did send out a registration email yesterday, but I will send out more as we get closer to it. And then the buyer agency agreement, I did add it to our dot loop. So you will notice that it shows up as a requirement. As of right now, it is not until August 17th. I only did that so you guys get in the habit of using it with your clients. If you do close a transaction now and it's showing up required, just let the admin know, they'll remove the requirement. But after August 17th, it will be a requirement. So start reviewing it, please. It's 5 pages. The latest version was added to Dotloop. So I would like you guys to get more comfortable. And then next week, I will go over it, how to fill it out and how to streamline it to your buyer. So you have to make sure you feel confident, because if you don't know that document, they're not going to feel comfortable. So you have to make sure that you feel confident and comfortable filling it out. Any other questions?
To find this presentation, where do I go on Remax?
So it's going to, when you go to Max Center, it's going to be under marketing. I will share the link with you guys. I'll share it with your managers. Your managers will share it with you guys. Because the one on Max Center is not, you wouldn't be able to customize it. But the one that's on the email, you can. So I will share that one.
Thank you.
And you guys can save it on your Google Drive, so that way you can change it for each client.
Idona, the rental compliance presentation, is that also in Remax, Max Center?
No, so the rental compliance, we had Frant Blakely who did it. I'm gonna do the one on August 5th. That's something we prepared with. We wanted to show you guys what's important, what you need to look out for, the required documents on Dotloop.
Okay, and I'm just asking because that survey was more of a, testing your knowledge. And there were some things there that honestly I didn't recall. So I wanted to go back to reference the presentation.
Okay. I will make sure that you guys get a copy of the presentation. So I will email it to you, Janet.
Okay, thank you. And Idona, we don't have a manager right now, so.
Yes.
Okay.
I will send it to you guys directly.
Great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate all you're doing, by the way. These are very helpful. Thank you.
Idona,
Yes.
if we take a listing tomorrow and we're putting it on the MLS, I guess the rules are we can show the compensation right now.
Correct.
Does that mean that on August 17th, we have to go in and change all these listings and take those
That's a great,
numbers off?
they have not advised us how they're going to handle active listings. I believe as of right now, anything that was listed before August 17, it's going to stay as is. However, you should have those conversations with your sellers to let them know of the changes, right? So that's why it's important to have, if you're going to a listing presentation now, please just make them aware that that might be a change. But once I know for sure, we'll make sure we announce it to all of you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those fields are going to be taken off of the MLS anyway. So, once the software and programming happens, they're just going to disappear. That's how it works.
Oh,
That's
Inter-
why it's so important to please update your profiles because especially the ones from KB Corp, corporate is working on integrating something where you guys will be able to add the compensation because remember, we cannot, absolutely not, one indication on MLS showing, hey, visit my website, we're offering compensation, you can't. It's like $1,000 fine if you do. So we are going to be very careful as to what we're adding to on the MLS. You
Can
can't
you-
guide an agent outside the MLS saying, hey, visit my website. But I'm sure we're going to have a solution to that very soon. Corporate has been working. We're just waiting for DOJ to approve it. And then once that comes up, there'll be trainings, which I will share with all of you because this is not going to be an easy task. So there will be trainings from corporate and we'll make sure that we also do our own trainings. I'm sure they'll give us some lenient time just to get everybody adjusted because everyone's waiting to the last minute. Like we're already in July and we're just going through the approval process.
Are there any updates on the countersuits that are being launched against the attorneys who sued the industry and NAR?
No, nothing has been brought to us. As of right, I actually just spoke to the president of NCJAR and he said there's nothing that, they need to update us on. So as of right now, we just need to get ready for August 17th.
Can I call you back?
It looks like, the seller disclosure will probably also be a required document. So please keep that in mind. As of right now, you're only required to have your seller complete the flood risk notice, but it looks like they're trying to push where it's the whole document will be required. So regardless, you should have your sellers fill that out. It's going to protect them. It's better to just to disclose whatever it is that they need to disclose from the beginning. And I just saw the message. Someone said, please share the rental compliance. I will share it. Just remember that if you did not take that webinar, we really encourage you guys to do so because it's so important for you guys to be aware of all the changes. The fines on lead paint has increased to over 11,000 and it has to be fully completed. For each box you miss, it's $2,000 fine.
Jeez.
E&O insurance does not cover it. So we're just protecting you guys because at the end of the day, it will be on you. So that's why our compliance is changing on .loop. So please, if you have not attended that webinar, the next one is August 5th. Any other questions on the buyer? Where is the webinar? The webinar will be on this link, zoomwithremax.com, August 5th and August 27th from 10 to 11. Let me just, Francis, can you just stop sharing your screen, please? Any other questions? Thank you guys for attending. I hope you found this helpful. Just remember, you can always customize your buyer presentation. Practice. You need to practice. You need to feel comfortable. Utilize your manager, role playing. And then if you guys have any suggestions that I could help you guys on a Tuesday mastermind, please share it with me. If you can think of something that you would want to see, I can bring home inspectors, lead inspectors. I can bring the president of a board. Anything that you guys would like to see in future webinars, I'm more than happy to listen to your input. Feel free to message me directly. And that is all I have. Anything else? All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.